Hmm. Hi, my name's Kara-Leah and this is my video blog. It's a beautiful day here in Wellington today, so I thought I'd come outside to record. You might be able to hear the stream in the background. I feel nervous today. Yeah, scared. I can feel it in the pit of my belly. I've realised that I'm getting really good at just being able to be present and to sit and to talk, and that's feeling okay. The next challenge for me is to start to talk about maybe some more important things, or to reveal more of myself, which I have been doing via writing for a while now, but it is so different when you put yourself in front of a video camera and start to speak into it. So I watched Brene Brown last week talking about vulnerability and talking about shame, and that was really interesting because I didn't think I'd ever really experienced a lot of shame, and of course that wasn't true, as I realized as I listened to her describe the effect of shame on us and how it makes us feel, and the voice of shame on the inside. And she talked about when she did her first talk, Vulnerability, and they said that they were going to put it up on YouTube, and she freaked out. You know, she was talking about vulnerability and being vulnerable and research on vulnerability, and she'd revealed on this talk that she'd had a breakdown, and she's talking to a friend and she's like, oh my god, they're going to put it on YouTube, you know, like 100 people might see it, 400 people might see it. And she says in this talk, she's like, I had no contingency plan for 4 million people seeing it. And that got me thinking a little bit about why it is that we are so afraid to share these things that happen to us. So I had my own breakdown, although I chose to call it a breakthrough even then, when I was 28, 29, just turned 29. It was August of 2004, and it's one of those stories that there's so many different ways to tell this story. There's so many different threads, and there's so many factors that led up to what in essence was 2 psychotic episodes a month apart. And so sometimes I'm like, you know, do I tell the story this way or do I tell the story that way? Like, what is the story of it? But suffice to say that the totally unexpected happened to me, and I had a psychotic episode where I lost touch with reality or grounding, and had visions and was doing spontaneous yoga postures and speaking in strange voices and just having all these ideas about the world and the way that it was. And in the midst of this, you know, some very blissful experiences as well, and it felt like everything, all the world's songs, all the world's movies, absolutely everything was just downloaded into me, this massive download of all the information that had ever existed. And of course I couldn't cope, and it just blew my mind, literally. And then a month later it happened again. So I remember waking up in the psych ward the second time, and the trigger for that second episode had been my fiance breaking up with me 5 days before. And I woke up in the psych ward, and I woke up sane. I mean, they'd sedated me when they picked me up off the logging road. I was running up and down barefoot on a logging road in September in Canada. And anyway, they'd sedated me and put me in an ambulance and driven me down to Lionsgate acute psych ward. And I woke up and I was sane at the time, and I was committed to that psych ward, as in I wasn't allowed to leave under my own steam. I had to stay there until they decided that I was sane enough to let out. My fiance had broken up with me, so I was emotionally bereft, and I was in a room with 3 other people, and I just remember that all I wanted to do was to cry. All I wanted to do was cry, and I couldn't bring myself to cry in front of people. You know, I knew that I needed to mourn, that I needed to to just let go of all of this grief that I was holding. But you know, in a board, there's no privacy. There's nowhere to go. You know, and I couldn't bring myself to let myself be seen vulnerable. I guess that's what it is. Like, even though I'd been, you know, picked up running barefoot down a logging road with this delusional idea that my fiance was going to be picking me up in a helicopter and whisking me to the top of the mountain to marry me. I mean, this was what my mind was telling me, because I was so afraid of the grief, of the reality that he had actually left me. And so there I am, you know, yeah, in this psych ward, and there's nowhere to go. And you know, I don't think I cried. I think I was able to, as always, hold back the tears and pretend that I was okay and put on this front and not actually just be with the grief that was sitting right there, because I was so afraid of being seen as weak, because emotions are a weakness. So I spent 9 days in the psych ward that time, and I guess that's another story really. My major focus was just to appear sane so that I'd be released as soon as possible. So that's what I focused on. It's extraordinary the lengths that we go to pretend that we're okay, and the lengths that we go to avoid showing emotion to each other. And I wonder why. Where we learn this and what it's about. And you know what, I don't think I have any great takeaways today. It's 8 years. It's 8 years this year since I had those experiences, and that was a pivotal moment in my life, where, you know, it will always be the life before the psychosis and then the life after the psychosis. And I'm forever grateful to it, because it was an amazing experience. It was incredible to witness the mind at work like that, and to see and to understand that we are not our mind, and that we are not our thoughts, and that there are aspects of the psyche and the ego that they're doing the best they can to protect us, or so they think. But in the end, all we need to do is just continually drop away those layers of protection, because there is nothing that needs protecting. There's nothing that needs protecting. So thank you for listening, watching.